remember about riding in the double bridle is, the snaffle is designed to be influenced independently. It's got joints in it, it's to influence right side, left side, supple, move the horse around laterally. It's also designed to sort of elevate, it's behind the the curve, and bring the horse up a little bit. The curve is it's designed to be held with the reins in one hand. Okay? So in the modern era, we don't do that. We don't have our swords, we're not riding with the curved bit.
So quick note on that. One of the other things I do is I do medieval recreations where I do fight and joust from horseback.
You're so cool. Interesting. Oh my God. Okay, so that's very cool. I love watching jousting. I make my husband come and sit down any kind of jousting thing. I think that is wicked cool. So I want your autograph. Okay, I'm a little dazzled. That is so cool. Okay, so great. So tell me. So you ride with the reins in one hand when you're doing that?
Yeah. And I've actually been scolded about that because this is the first horse I've ridden in a double, and when I'm doing the medieval stuff, I used to always ride in snaffle, but I'm riding one-handed. And one of the jousters from Europe, he came over and he saw me riding, and he's like, "Why are you not riding in the curve?
Right.
Why are you riding in such a harsh bit?" And threw me for a loop. So I'm like, "What do you mean? It's a snaffle." He's like, "Yes, but you're in one hand.
Yeah.
That snaffle is moving side to side."
Yeah. It's not designed for that.
Yeah.
It's not designed for that. So this is good. You really develop your feel in the dressage in the double bridle. You can transfer that to your jousting.
Yeah.
So that said, and some of the things I was talking to you about the independent hands and wrists. If you're using your arms a little bit here, you're taking that solid bit and moving it here and putting torque on one side and then the other side, and it's designed to sit here and go in one hand, right? So when you want to use the snaffle, you need to, this is how I teach it, okay? My middle finger is my curb finger.
Yes.
My ring finger is my snaffle finger. So I hold my reins when I'm riding, the horse is going well. I have just a softer middle finger, it's there. And I'm talking to the horse snaffle-wise a little bit right, left through this finger. And this is more neutral. This is only longitudinal. And then when I want to use the curb, I ride into my middle finger. So the idea, the sort of more basic idea of the fingers belong to the bit, the wrists belong to the pole, and the arm belongs to the neck, that helps you to make that distinction of sort of bilateral neck and ring finger, snaffle. And then when you are riding in the curb still, you can turn the wrist and the entire bit system turns a little bit to allow the horse to position the pole. And then you have a longitudinal relationship, again, still with the curb bit to the mouth on that turn. Were you there when was it you that I did the line in the sand and showed oh no, it was the last lesson. Were you there? The last lesson?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so that I have, a line here of the horse, and just explaining that if you're sitting in the middle of your horse, and your reins are here, then the reins go in a straight line to here. Well, that doesn't help you on that line, right? So you want to have the bit on the radius of the circle. So here's the circumference of the circle. Here's the radius of the circle. And this is an exaggerated small circle. But in principle, when you're on a bent line, you want to have the outside of the bit advance a little bit. Now, do you notice my hips?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is related to we're bending, turning my hips. Now, I don't have to rotate this.
Right.
That has done it for me. Now my reins are pointed, my bit is there, my reins come straight back. So in a straight line, I've got this corridor of the reins just a little more than bit width apart back to my hands. And when I am on a bending line, I go a little bit here, and I've got the reins coming straight back. I need my reins short enough that they don't end up over here. So my rein is not an indirect rein coming back here with my reins too long. Okay? My reins short enough that I have one rein on the outside, one rein on the inside, and my hands relative to my body need to be a little bit to the outside. Okay? So that I'm sort of bracketing my hip, my outside hip with the hands. So that's another reason it's so important to keep adjusting your rein, because once you cross over into the back, of course, you need this to be against the neck a little bit, this medial, and then you're creating a bend that you can send the horse into. Okay? Anytime you're kind of doing this, you're breaking one of the walls in the middle. Okay, so you say, here's my corridor, and I'm turning, and now my corridor is this shape. And then what that means is, in your half passes, where the horse is bent, you're still riding in, out, with both sides of the bend, or if you're riding in one, with the curve is kind of like da-dum, so it's still linear toward the destination.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah. So I did have one question about that. So, like having my hands to the outside, I've always taught that we want to open to the
For a novice horse, yes.
Okay.
But for an advanced horse, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're going along and you're saying, okay, I'm trying to think of an example, like in here, you're right here, so right in here, right? You're going along and you're saying, okay, I'm trying to correct, I'm like, sure, you can't go, okay, there's some space,
Right.
you know, I'm leaving my right, I'm leaving the space, and then you're bringing it back, you know, so a leading or an open rein in dressage is a gesture. It's not a placement.
Got it.
You go over there, and then you put your hand down.
Okay.
So it's a useful tool, but it's not. A young horse, you go over here, you know.
Yeah. Right.
And then it's an explanation. You don't need that.
Yeah.
You should be able to do everything with your reins in one hand.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Good question. All right. So let's get back to the walk. And I want you at home, you know, or when you're off your horse, to play around with a couple of things. Okay, this is a good one. So this is for everybody who's working on this. Find something you like, you know, and I want you to practice. A little bit and have a look real quick. So your head, your elbow. And find your favorite music and practice that. Because your body needs to learn to kind of balance the exact equal and opposite movement, rhythmically keeping a metronome. Okay? And it's just not using that. This is good. Now, what's getting you in trouble is you're using your arm for nothing.
Say that again.
He's using his arm.
His arm is like his voice. So, back front, no. See, you pull your left elbow, you feel it? Okay? So, you're doing what you're doing. Okay? So you're going like, squeeze. Your arm needs to be aligned with your neck and go back. I know I'm doing it.
left hand, your right hand. Back foot in. You're still going left, right, left, right, left, right. That's in every other deep flex. Right, second. And you might want to just keep outside and help you for a while, not oh, you've got tools. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. But if you want to transfer that, you're right. Okay. So when your arms are going up, you usually go right from there. And so you're going, you start going back, You want to do a really flex. Put them on a circle and have your back one be a little bit this way. Okay. Then if he's flex, if he's not supple, then you use your left wrist. So he's not, and then back. He answers you, and then you go forward. If you go flex, release, first of all, it's not working, right? Every time you release, you swing back the other way. Second of all, you lost that linear quality to the walk. The back front is being interrupted every single time. So you are undoing. There we go. Back front. I don't care. Back front. Excellent. Keep your left hand, your right hand. So there you go. Back front. Starting to sneak it. And you're like, oh, I know how to do it. That arm move. Yes. Good. Back front. There you go. There you go. And by the back on a bending line, I mean near your right hip, and then you're pushing forward over to the outside. Good. Now, just arm a longer forward. Your arms a little more forward. So your elbows are almost dead straight at the front. There you go. So you go almost to walk out the elbow. Now you're wearing it as front. There we go. Feel it?
Yeah.
Right. You're feeling your biceps involved more than you should. Make sure your deltoid involved. Do you know your muscles? Your deltoid is that's what brings us back. There, you guys seeing much when you're allowing work to the outside? Your placement of your hands is on the curve rather than dead straight. And you go a little bit stiffer on the left leg. You just start working into that a little bit. Okay, the whole shape like this. I'm not gonna follow you left and right. I'm going to give you a color. You want to move, you use the space provided. That's to the front. That's not to swing over away. Now we're getting better. It's not a big movement with your elbows, but you're organizing your arms and your feet together in unison, and you're not unsurprisingly nod by pulling the left, right, every other step. I like this. Does it feel better?
Yeah. So,
It still feels like practice.
no, different.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons that my arm had been
Uh-huh.
I had that tendency to walk
Right.
my arms, and Christine was really working with me on squeeze your elbows, like
She's trying to get you to do what I'm trying to do. But you misinterpret that as a little bit of kind of moving left, right, left.
yeah.
Which, happens to us as coaches all the time. You're really trying to answer what we want, but your body doesn't want to That's a big part of it. I'm sorry. So you're pushing it up. You're incredibly powerful with our opposing thumb, but it's not designed to be
Yeah, so that trick with the thumb, one of the things you stop progressively. Your about is making my reins longer in the canter. So I'll start out and it's great, and then it goes to crap and I'll try to half haul.
Well, you know, and whenever, we didn't go do a lot of canters, but whenever someone tells me that, I come running up to see how they're holding their reins. And it's not just you. I mean, I've had people who said, oh, my entire life I've been running rotary for blah, 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 how many years, and I just can't keep my reins short. I'm like, look at that. Done. So, everybody here, did you follow what I just did with him? Okay, so the way that we hold the rein is you want a closed hand with the thumb bent, okay? And the tip of your thumb presses the rein into the knuckle of your forefinger, okay? This knuckle, the first knuckle of your forefinger, okay? We are incredibly strong with our opposing thumb done this way, and we have a lot of dexterity with it. And furthermore, when you do that, you have all this kind of ability to play with these muscles. They work naturally. As soon as you grab something, like imagine, you know, your tip of your finger has got a big welt on it and it hurts like crazy, so you're gonna pick up your whip. Everything gets sort of thwarted. It doesn't work anymore. You feel stiff and your wrist is suddenly stiff and the forearm muscles and these tendons are stiff. And so you can't do anything with it. As soon as you do this, you retain your dexterity. So the reins slide through your hand if you're holding like that, and then if you try to keep them from sliding through your hand gets tight, and so does everything through here and here. If you want to keep your reins from slipping through your hand, you push the tip of your thumb against the knuckle of your forefinger behind the keeper, and the keeper can't slide through. Then you can be soft and flexible here, and you still can have the death grip between your thumb and your forefinger and not lose the rein. So it's really important to retrain yourself in how you hold your reins if you've got one of those habits. Okay, we're going to change the subject now. You're going to go forward to trot and think about posting, swinging your hips between your elbows and your posting trot. Good. Now, your horse wants to be long, and he stretches fine. You're going to take advantage of that, and just don't worry too much about him being flexed at the moment. I want you to think about your bending seat, okay? Your bending seat. That means your inside leg is at the girth, and your outside leg is a little bit back. And when we talk about legs in dressage training, we're usually talking about the lower leg, but I want you to think about the upper leg as well. I want you to think of your center of your spine centered over his spine. And at the moment, we're not doing anything super tricky, so I want you to focus on having both feet bones landing in the saddle equally. And if he starts to lean, you ask him to lean out. We're going to change rein every every single circle. So after this 20-meter circle, you can do an R and S, and you just change rein into a 20-meter circle right. Good. Now when you change to the right circle, you put your right leg on like a pillar from the hip down, and you bring him around it with your inside rein. If you turn your body a little bit, your outside rein will come a little forward, your inside a little bit back, but keep your hands a bit width apart if you can. Right hand needs to move next to the left. There you go. Good. And if you turn your knees a little bit in the direction of travel, your outside leg will come back, your outside leg will come forward. So rotating your hips, everything is going to move at the same time, okay? So there's collapse and straightness, there's leaning and uprightness, and there's rotation and rotation. Now I want you to walk and just watch this. I don't want you to miss this part. Okay? There's collapse and straight. We're not supposed to collapse, but too far continuity. There is lean and bliss and upright, right? And then there is rotation and rotation. Now you're probably too young, but when I was a kid, they were always selling these disc things, and you could do this and figure it out. Okay?
I have one.
Okay, good. Okay. So that's how our bodies work. When we rotate right, everything rotates right. When we rotate left, everything rotates left. So if you have a rotation this way, and when you turn your right toe, left toe in, you can control it. So I want you to let your toes and knees and hips turn right, your toes and knees and hips turn left. One of the reasons you're leaning and listening is because you're not rotating. Your brain is saying, I gotta go over there. Look over there, rotate, turn that knee out, turn this knee in. Give that back as a group activity. And then you can modify a little bit. Okay, let's go back to the trot. 20-meter circle left, 20-meter circle right, and I want you to really consciously change your rotation every time you change rein, really clearly. Everything's turning right. Now, when you get into the center line, you're going to turn everything left. So, your left circle is going to start at center line, turn knees, toes, hips, and shoulders left, not head. Your head's in the middle. You got to turn your hips to turn your shoulders to turn your head. Now you fell left a lot. You're leaning. It's better to the right. Better. Stay on the right circle and bring your left knee in a little more. Turning your toes and knees to the right. That's it. You feel like you're still really upright? I want you to feel both seat bones. Now, you're a little bit slid to the left. You feel that? So I want you to slide your seat right so that your right seat bone is further to the right, and almost your left seat bone is almost at center line. There you go. Now that kick that I showed you all, that's to feel your extension pattern. Imagine you're kicking that right leg out straight with the heels up, and you step out into that heel. So you're going to kind of step that heel towards his right hop a little bit, and stretch your body away from it. So I want a pillar of body stepping down the right. Does that feel weird?
Yeah.
It looks really good. It's more like what you're doing the other direction. Now your seat just slid left. Did you feel it? Pick it up, move it over, and kick to the right. Step out. Think of extension pattern. Very good. Very good. All right, let's come around and change rein. Now, this direction you tend to lean. I want you to stay on the right and think of rotation. Eyes through his ears. Turn your hips. You didn't do it. Now you're leaning. Sit up. Turn your hips. Turn your knees and toes left. Keep trying. Get that right toe turned in. Now imagine the way you're going to turn him is press your right knee into his shoulder. Push with that right knee into his shoulder. Come on, kneecap, pressing his shoulder. There, feel that? Okay, that got you rotated in with the right thigh. Do that, exaggerate that again, because it did a lot of good things to your body. There you go. You don't have to lean as much when you do that. You feel the difference? All right, and walk and give yourself just a little mental break. As soon as you stop doing it, you're rotating back. So this is something to really work on with your body. All right, are we having fun yet? The other thing you can do to find those muscles, someone asked me, like, how do I find that muscle? So, if you've been doing a lot of different athletic endeavors, obviously, but do you do like floor work and, you know, calisthenic exercises and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to work a little bit more on your side planks.
Okay.
You know which side you collapse, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to strengthen the muscles on the outside of that collapse. You've got to strengthen your left shortening muscles. Okay. So you might think that would be, but so that's going to be, if you need to plank left, side plank left, you're going to want to do that, and you've got to pull that up. Okay, that's one thing. And then the next thing, can you help me? Can you hear me? I don't have a table, this is weird. Okay, so you're going to do like lie down. Okay, now I want you to pull my right hip down. That is what you need to work on with your rotation. Okay? It's engaging your hamstring and your torso to pull that forward. It's not a bridge yet because it's unilateral. You could, but it's more about pushing this and having power into. Did you feel? I mean, you put your body weight on me, and I was able to push it up. That's not, you know, in everyday life, I can't think of another thing where you have to, with that part of your body. You like trying to get a cap off a jar. That's how you want to do that with your body. Yeah, and this helps. Really, come around with me. Get into your body and use it. You need to find that place in your body. So when you're trotting right, you say, okay, we're going left. Put your legs slow down, and you go. I'm coming around. Okay. So let's go back to trotting left.
So when I do that exercise, am I pushing through my heel on the ground to lift that hip? The one you were just demonstrating?
I wouldn't say your heel, but you can have your foot down.
Okay.
And like with me up on that pedestal, you know, with my foot, I had a little bit of pushing through my hamstring.
Okay.
Pushing it's your extensor.
Okay.
In your thigh. There you go. And again, your kick is going to help you with that. This is good.
Yeah, I can feel how I'm collapsing through my left.
Good. So, you know, that's the first part, right? Is body awareness. So now, when you feel that happen, fix it big time, like over fix it. Turn your hips and lower your left armpit. Balance your head in the middle or it's telling you false information. So as you come around, now make a big gesture to turn your hips. Good. Turn your hips more. You're doing more arm. Elbows by now. Okay, so keep on going. Now, the first thing you've collapsed. Do you feel it? So let's just go large and go in a straight line, and I want you to see if you can get both elbows to the same spot on your hip bones. Because right now there's a lot more length on the left side of your torso than the right. Widen your right hand, let it go longer, and now lower your left elbow down till it feels your belt. A little more. You're almost there. There. Now fight for it. Good job. Can you see yourself in the mirror? That's very good and very square. Now come down you circle around so you can come down quarter line or center line and see yourself in the mirror coming this way, right? And he's a good guy, you know, he's just going in kind of stretch mode, a nice swinging trot. So, you know, you don't need to be lunged, you just need to sort of lunge yourself on your horse, yeah? Can you see yourself in the mirror? Can you see yourself in the mirror?
I can now.
Your shoulders square, your elbows the same height. So you come around this corner and your left elbow went up and out. You gotta keep that elbow down. There you go. You see how much better that was? Little bit of drift, but not a lot. Now around, you can make another corner or a turn now and keep your left elbow down. Keep it down. Keep it down. Keep it down. There you go. Keep that elbow down. Down, down, down. There you go. You feel it starting to add to the weight of your left seat bone?
Yep.
And another turn. Left elbow down. There you go. You're not sliding your heel down, your thigh down. You're saying your left elbow's adding to the weight in your left hip. And you slid a little bit. Square yourself up. Good. All right, next exercise. You're going to come down the next long side. I would do all these things on a lunge line, but you don't need to. Come down the long side, elbows really close to each other, or yeah. Okay, and now I want you to bend your knees slowly so he doesn't buck you off, but bend your knees till your heels are to the corners of your saddle pad, both of them. Both of the heels have to come back. You can hold the saddle if you need to. Take a moment, you could try it down the long side. Let's do it and walk. Good. Now pull your heels back to the corner of the saddle pad. Okay, now and up, and up. So I want your knee down, your heel up. You can do it at the halt, I don't care.
Like that.
Yes, yes. Do you feel how that made your knees feel more aware of their lowness? So you have a tendency to push that leg down, and so that's effect. So you want to work on engaging your hamstrings, pulling the boot back, and holding your calf on your horse. Now you told me you carry whip in both hands because he's squarely behind the saddle. That's the job of your calf. Not only to say there's a wall on this side of your neck and this side of your neck, that bit to elbow to torso, and there is a wall on this side of your shoulder and this side of your shoulder and your girth and your butt, and that's the knee to heel. That line is in charge of the barrel straightness and the butt swing. And if you're pushing into your heel and standing down into your heel, you're not being in charge of that. That's why you need the weight. Okay? So you've got.
I need to take my whips away from myself.
Yeah, and you need to work on riding him with your lower leg back a lot. So, and then you modify it, you'll bring it down, But you got to get comfortable engaging that hamstring while you're riding and holding the calf back on your horse. And then one day, Christine will say, your leg is too far back. Yay! And you can move it forward. Okay. All right, are we out of time? We got another 5 minutes, so let's use it and overuse it because I know Crystal's patient. We'll do a little bit more. Good. Now all that work we were playing around posting without stirrups, that will also help. So try a little. That's it, and pull your knees up. I want you to pretend you're in a jumping saddle. Pull those knees up, and now post. There you go. When you start to slide down, that's a good thing for lengthening your leg, but you don't have that novice problem of not having your legs extended. You have the opposite problem. Pull your knees up, keep them the same height, and post. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Good. Now get yourself lined up with a mirror so you can watch that. Pull the knees up, same height. You can see in the mirror and progress. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Try to do it with the rhythm of the song. Bum, 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 bum. Feel yourself sliding left? Can you see it? Yeah. So that left leg needs to be stronger. So pull it up, fight forward, So I want you to practice that with the shorter stirrup position, because that made it clear how this was, you were stepping into the stirrup too much on the left. You want to keep that knee high. And move your seat back right, pull the left knee up, pull it up. So it's not only your adductors, but your flexor muscles need to be strengthened. 1, 2, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You feel you're falling left on the down? So when you sit, pull the knee up. Down, up, down, toe up, knee up on the left. There you go, toe up, knee up on the left. Now, what I think you'll notice is that when you contract your left side, you need to put it more in flexion pattern. You'll feel the left side of your waist, your armpit, and everything tighten up too. You're going to be shortening that collapse tendency in the torso at the same time that you're shortening the hip flexor and the knee flexor. This is good. You feel how it's sort of self-correcting?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's take your stirrups back, and then I want you to go rising prop with that work in mind. So only enough weight in your stirrup to keep the stirrup. Now your left leg just went dead straight. The foot's way out in front of you. I want you to try to bring your heels closer to the back of your saddle pad. I don't care if they're super close, but I definitely want your toe behind your knees. Good. Whoops, you kind of lost your seat again. Now let's get off the circle and go large. For you, a lot of work on straight lines is important before we take it to the bending lines. Now you're way off to the left, you gotta pull that one. You know what, walk and shorten your stirrups a whole. I think your long stirrup is thwarting you. At least a big hole, a good inch hole. So this is one of the things, because I think that is so interesting, is that sometimes, like I've said before, the things that we do to develop riders into a long seat, they backfire on us at some point when your body's athletic enough to release the contraction that most riders do. We get overextended sometimes. And he's got very much flexibility in his hips, but he's got more on one side than the other, and he's not focusing enough on contraction. So this is where, when you reach a level of advancement in your suppleness, then you have to go back and work more on adding the right amount of tension. Do you feel how that puts a little more mechanic in your posting?
Yeah.
Okay, I should have done this first thing. I apologize for being so slow to shorten your stirrup. Good. Now I'm seeing a little bit more of that rotation right in the feet. So turn both toes and knees left and use your right knee against the horse's shoulder to bring him around. And whoops, left shoulder just popped up, bring it down. There you go. And now I want you to imagine I'm trotting along beside you and I grab your belt and I pull your belt to the right. I'm going to go like this. There you go. Bring your waist right, your ribs to the right. Okay? Now, it didn't happen. So you can you find that? Imagine I grabbed your belt on the right and pulled you. That's better. Now imagine I stuck my finger in your ribs on the left and you went, oh, and you pulled away from it. Nope, I'm not on the right, on the left. On the left. There you go, get out of my way, look at me. Other way, other way. If I poked you under your left arm, would you push your right arm into your body and lean left? Not if you're a trained dressage rider. Dressage horses move away from the spur. Let me spur you under your left and your left ribs. Move away from the spur. This is interesting. Yeah. Huh?
I said, I promise you, I'm trying to.
I believe you. That's why it's interesting. Okay, so walk a second. And hold right there, don't move. Now you actually move, so to your side.
Sorry.
But if I'm gonna do this,
Right.
that's what I want.
Okay.
Okay? Now push back into me.
Okay.
You feel how that changes?
Yeah.
The pelvis goes a little right, the shoulders compensate. There you go. So this is why it's so important you keep your head in the middle, because when you compensate with your head or your shoulders, it feels centered. It's just not, it's equal amount of body on the left side of the horse and the right side. The problem is, you've got all your ribs on the left side and all your head on the right side. So now imagine that I poked you where I did with the whip and fixed and respond to the poke. You just went the other way.
Yep.
I'm poking you under the left arm. Now it's the right. Gotta do it the other way. Am I gonna have to poke you again?
Ryan's like,
Yeah,
go
such a
for
great
it.
attitude. I love it.
Because for some reason my brain is mirroring that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Well, we don't want him to because we want him to, that'll be good for the result. But it'll be much harder for him to repeat that result.
What would that be?
So are you working on it?
Yeah. Trying to.
So face the mirror and stop and then experiment with the visual. Well, maybe the mirror's not helping you wrong. There you go. That's what I want. That's what you're doing. That's what I want. You feel it? There you go. That's the gesture I want. There you go. Now exaggerate. There you go.
Okay, had about enough.
Huh?
It's like, it says, I have had about enough of these. So.
There we go. Good. You feel how those things are related? You move the ribs, you bring the knee up, you bring, and everything shifts to square.
Yeah.
So that's huge for you. Huge. So I'm sure you probably had about enough of this too, processing all these things, but you've done an incredible job of exploring it. And what I also really love about it is like, you're really thinking about how your brain is processing it and not getting frustrated, with me and your horse and all that. You're just like, okay, what do I need to tweak to make this happen? So you're getting there, and that attitude is worth a ton. So I think you've got videotape, you've got a lot of information, a lot of exercises to play with. You've got to work on your neural pathways. And one last thing I want to leave you with, which we talked about just a little bit in the canter yesterday, and we didn't get to go far with it, is if you can get back, and I'll have her demonstrate a little in the canter later, the work that we did in the walk, that separation of the hip and the elbow, in the canter, they move together.
Yeah.
You've got in your mind that you have to keep the arms super still in the canter.
Yeah.
And if he were a Baroque horse, it would work. They're sort of leg movers. The neck sits up on the shoulder. He's not. He's a very long horse. So his natural canter, the working canter from which you need to develop the collection, has a lot of bastule jump motion through the top line, and you're not allowing it enough in the connection. Yes, you want him collected in the middle of your ride, but if you start that way, his canter breaks. It's not clean. You felt it a little bit shoddy behind.
Yeah.
That's your other big challenge with him, to do the goals that you have in mind. And I think, although I know that the work we did in the walk is, learning that independent arm and the mechanic is a huge part of that, I want you to have a little visual of where you're going to go with that mechanic. Okay? So we'll try and get you that before the end of the day with some demos. Great work. Now I can give you your wins back.
Woohoo!